Welcome to CMOs Without Borders.
I'm Joel Crampton. I help financial advisors, RIAs, and wealth managers replace scattered marketing with strategic systems that boost AUM and production volume.
I'm Mandy MacPhee. I am a fractional chief marketing officer and work with founders who are doing too much and need someone to turn their scattered marketing into a system that actually drives results.
All right, Mandy, we have reached the end of season 1 of CMOs Without Borders. We have learned a lot in this process. We've had lots of fun guests on. We've had lots of just you and I's conversations. We're just riffing about marketing. So it's really nice to kind of put this bow onto 2025 and look ahead at 2026. So in this episode, we were going to talk about what we've seen in financial services, trends that we thought defined the year, and then some of the things that are coming up in 2026 that we can somewhat forecast are going to become mainstream if they aren't already being talked about right now.
Yeah. Before we get into real conversation, CMOs Without Borders, episode 10. So thankful, Joel, to be doing this with you. I think that you're right. We've learned a lot, but I've gotten to know you a lot better in this, and that's what I'm most thankful for as we do this.
Thanks, Mandy.
You're
I
welcome.
agree. I agree.
Welcome.
All right. So let's see, 2025. Clearly AI has gone mainstream. It's everything is talked about, certainly in marketing, but I think in financial services, we've almost gotten past that early adopter phase of new technology. So it's starting to mature. People are trying to lean into AI more into their firms and their practices and trying to figure out how they can utilize AI as a tool to drive efficiency, drive more business,
Yeah.
just make them more profitable as a company as a whole. So,
I think what we've seen in 2025 is there's split ways of thinking with respect to AI. We've got people in the camp that AI is going to take their jobs away, and then people in the camp that no, AI is not going to take your jobs away. It's going to make it easier. So I think, right through 2025, we've seen that span of thinking across the board. I've heard a lot of AI is going to remove my job, it's going to replace me, and I am of the belief that AI will enhance what you do. AI is only as good as the people who are using it. AI needs that human for judgment, to create the strategy, to get to the insight, to question a tool because it's not always right. It is often wrong. So you have to iterate with AI, understand it, know what questions to ask it to develop your strategies, get the right insight, even when you're developing content. You have to be very careful in how you use it. So I'm of the mindset that AI is not going to replace jobs. It is going to enhance what you're doing. It will change the way we work and it might change your job description, but it won't change your job. It won't remove your job completely, not when it comes to marketing.
I think we're getting in a place that if you aren't trying AI into your job, incorporating it in some capacity, we're getting into that late adopter phase almost, because the pace of AI is accelerating so fast. And if you don't at least give it a try and see if there's a way for you to incorporate one of the thousands of AI tools out there, I think you're just at risk of getting left behind from a competitive standpoint. So I think the easiest is to just try ChatGPT, just get familiar with the tool, and then you can start figuring out where it has deficiencies. I think we're certainly getting a lot of AI fatigue. It's being talked about all over the media. Lots of service providers in the industry are talking about AI and thankfully are incorporating a lot of those AI tools into their platforms to make it a little easier to adopt, even if it's working behind the scenes. So a lot of website platforms are incorporating some of the schema markup for AI search to optimize that. But I think 2025 was the era of AI note taking for financial advisors. I think there was a big adoption because that's an easy use case for advisors to incorporate into their practice. Just turn on AI note taking. It allows a better connection with the client so that you maintain that eye-to-eye contact instead of furiously writing notes down. And I think people are comfortable having their voice recorded. You certainly want to get their permission before you start recording that. But collaboratively, from a practice standpoint, you can take all those conversations that all the advisors are having within that firm and create content around there if there's common themes. So I think that was one easy way for financial advisors specifically to incorporate AI into their business. From us, from a marketing standpoint, I think content drafting is where a lot of us use it. And so I think we're seeing a lot of financial services firms use that with their marketing teams or anybody kind of using AI tools, especially ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, to use content drafting.
Yeah, I think that it's harder for larger financial institutions to adopt AI. There's lots of privacy concerns, risk factors that they need to get around, especially in the fintech space. They need to make sure that they're holding their data in a private way and not taking on the risk of letting that data go. So from a fintech perspective, I think that companies are slowly adopting AI in very cautious ways.
Yeah. No, yeah, compliance is always going to be a concern.
Yes.
It's the big brother on your shoulder, making sure that you're not doing something you shouldn't be doing. And so as much as people hate on FINRA and the SEC, they are trying to keep everybody's best interest at heart and keep the industry honest. It's going to slow things down, especially the adoption of some of these new tools and technology. But in the end, we want to be very cautious with any sort of information we're sharing, not only about clients, but about our business as well, because the AI tools are taking that into account and building these big models around it. So you want to be sure that you're certainly not putting any personally identified information in these tools about your clients or even your prospects, but certainly about your business as well.
100%. But I do think that there is still a fear about AI and using AI. There are a lot of late adopters or people who just haven't adopted AI for fear of what they might find in there, how to use it, all of those things. I had earlier this year, and I think I might have talked about this in one of our previous podcasts. I had somebody question some of the research that I had done and questioned it from the perspective of, oh, this is definitely AI. You didn't do this work. AI did this work. And my response immediately was, yeah, I absolutely did part of this work. But at the same time, the research is only as good as what you put in. So I spent a lot of time using AI as my copilot to help produce this. What would have taken 3 months in the past to do competitive research was taking me a week to do instead. So the compressed time and the efficiency of using AI to help do that type of research going forward is just going to accelerate businesses a lot quicker, create efficiencies in roles, and really get to a deep dive fast.
Yeah, AI should be an assistant. It should improve your business. It shouldn't replace you. It shouldn't be a replacement for your human voice, which I think is kind of a key benefit that we've seen with AI. Is there's been a shift to authentic storytelling nowadays. People are getting fatigued by AI and the generic soulless content that a lot of those programs create. And so when we're having leaders in these financial services firms, financial advisors, partners, principals, presidents, the main people of these firms showing up as real people, not soulless companies, logos, these cold posts, sharing their authentic story. So I think that's been a positive outcome of everyone using AI. So I think we talked about in previous episodes, people optimizing their personal LinkedIn profiles with posts with authentic stories that AI just can't replace because it's authentic to that individual. It also helps differentiate that individual on LinkedIn from other people in the same space. So when it comes to financial advisors, if you lead with that authentic storytelling, no other person can replicate that. You can share the same charts and graphs. And I was just on LinkedIn today, and there was a big post coming about the new tax brackets. And I kid you not, in 3 scrolls, I just went scroll. I saw the exact same post 3 different times because it was it was a compliance approved post that people on these platforms said, "Oh, I'm going to use that post today," and I saw the exact same graphic. So I think that's, if you just leave your story, you're not going to run into that very often.
I think that when you think about the use of AI this year, you're right. We've seen a lot of reproduced content from AI. We've also talked a lot about authentic storytelling this year, Joel. And with authentic storytelling, there is a way to use AI to get your authentic story out. Like I said before, AI is only as good as what you put in. You can absolutely train an AI tool to speak in your voice, to use your tone, to feed it your authentic stories, to produce unique content out in the market. But it takes a lot of training. It takes a lot of human insight and that input from yourself to be able to share the stories with AI for it to share it in an authentic way.
And you still have to put the human stamp on it, and you can't just type it in and just let it run. I mean, I think we've been trained as a human race now to start identifying some of these patterns. The M dash was a dead giveaway, and true marketers, true content professionals hated that because they used the M dash way before AI used it, and so they've started clawing back, save the M dash kind of thing, because now all the ad tools are starting to pull that out because it has been kind of a dead giveaway.
Yeah. Even common words that AI uses, like I see a lot of, it's a game changer, takes the guesswork out, get to the clarity you need, right? It's got a lot of common language that is used all the time.
And, I always say that AI is a path to mediocrity at this point. It'll get you 60 or 70% of the way there, but you still need to put your human element into it, and you need to feed into those prompts and keep massaging the content that it produces so that it becomes still that authentic, individualized piece that no one else can replicate. So I would certainly, again, convince people as much as I can to use AI tools as an assistant to make them more efficient, but you still need to have your human stamp on it. Even so far as keeping some of the errors in that you type in. None of us are perfect in our writings, and I think the human mind sees those as, yes, they're errors, but they're also a signal that this was written by a human.
Yes.
And so I think people are even putting in some prompts into ChatGPT and say, hey, add a few errors in if you can for me.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. So AI will only get you so far before you need to bring in some expertise to get you the other 30% of the way there. So even when it comes to marketing strategy or business strategy or tech strategy, depending on who you are and what you're working with, you can only get so far without having that expert advice beside it to really pull out ask the right questions with AI. As much as you would ask the right questions with a human sitting beside you, you need that person to ask the right questions with AI as well.
And we all have to become what they call it, a prompt engineer. So there's all kinds of courses on how you can best utilize ChatGPT and all the other AI search tools out there. But at a certain point, the algorithms have to get smart enough so that the dumbest person can use it and get to the right answer. And that's kind of what Google has been trying to do for 30 years, is to help make that search as easy as possible for the average web user. And so that's a good segue into how AI tools and things like ChatGPT have impacted SEO and search. And we're seeing Google search traffic drop for the very first time in decades because ChatGPT's come in and people are using it to get questions answered. It may not be the exact question that we want answered, but it's a lot easier for the person that's searching on the internet versus using Google, because they're going to get an answer right away. So I know Google's added some of that as some of their AI summaries. So they're trying to combat against ChatGPT, but I think the whole search ecosphere is shifting that way.
It's shifting away from search engine optimization to answer engine optimization. That's the shift that we've seen in 2025, is that it's no longer just about SEO. It's about AEO more and more. And a lot of companies are reshaping their social media, their website strategy, social media strategy, their SEO strategy more towards that answer engine optimization and optimizing to chats, to AI, to your Geminis, ChatGPTs, Claude, Perplexity, all of those.
It's just pushed us even further into that digital first impression mindset. It just matters more than ever. People have so much resources at their fingertips now. So they're doing 60 or 70, 80% of their search decision making process before they even reach out to a company, to schedule a call or to connect with people in person, like on a phone, or through email, or filling out contact us forms. So I think that's something that I'm starting to push more, is people need to do a digital audit of themselves and their companies and figure out how they're showing up in all those different things. So Google yourself used to be an easy one to do. Now you have to search for yourself on the chat tools and see what does chat know about you, and then what kind of information do you need to put onto your website and into your social platforms so that chat can put you into those search results. So if, for instance, who's the top financial advisor in Kansas City? And then if you're not showing up there, if you're a financial advisor in Kansas City, then you can tell ChatGPT, hey, how can I show up as one of the top results in this search? And then so ChatGPT will tell you, well, here's the things that you need to put on your website, here's the content you need to produce. And so I think, again, just going through that digital first impression audit will help any of these financial services companies that we're trying to help get their positioning very clear, make sure that that they're mobile optimized, their websites again have that kind of fast load speed, but they're offering some fresh, relevant content that is relevant not only to the end user, to their ideal clients, but also to the AI tools out there.
One of the you just tweaked something there, Joel, as you were talking about the prompts that you're using to get advisors to understand who they are, where they show up, etc. You didn't use one prompt. You had 2 or 3 prompts in there that you immediately led to. It's an iterative process. When you have to be careful with the prompt tools that you're seeing out in the market right now, because a lot of the prompt tools to become that expert just gives you a single prompt. Use this prompt to find out that. And it's not about using a single prompt. It's about the iterative process and the thinking that you take with AI that gets you clearer answers.
Yeah, like I think that's what people are used to in Google, is they'll just do Google search and then they're relying on themselves, a human, to scroll down the 1 million results that Google provides as an answer to that initial search query. And so people just have to make that shift, that that's not how search is going to be done in the future. The system will try to guide you to what you really are trying to get as an answer to your search query, your question. And so people just have to have that that shift in mindset, that it isn't just a single search, that you have a single search phrase or keyword. So from a marketing perspective, you have to understand the things that those AI tools are going to be looking for on your website and put it in plain English. So I think a lot of the things that I recommend to my clients and people that I'm speaking with is FAQ tools, so that you can put in, why is Crampton Financial Services the top financial advisor in Kansas City?
Yes.
So that because that's how those AI search tools are searching for information. So that's kind of how you have to. So there's a little bit of the SEO element that is coming to play. But again, it just goes down to having good quality content so that these search tools will see you as an authority in that space, creating good content for people that come to your website eventually. So it's not like getting to those people to your websites, but also keeping them there, delivering value, making it easy for them to do business with you and get additional information. Because again, they're going 70% of the way there before they are trusting you enough to make that phone call and get onto your marketing schedules of email campaigns, because they know as soon as they sign up, they're going to get hit with all that, and they don't want to do that for 15 different companies. They want to do their own research before that.
Yeah. Here's what what I think I'm going to see in 2026. think I'm going to see a couple of things. The first one is we're going to start seeing job descriptions that incorporate AI into the job description. You need to be that prompt engineer, especially in marketing roles. We're going to start to see the use of AI as a co-pilot in those JDs going forward. I think the second thing I'm going to see is the expanded use of AI tools. So going beyond generative AI like ChatGPT and Claude and using more tools like Lovable and Outgrow to help you build your tool set rather than just answer questions and give you insights and do your research for you.
There's so many shifts that are happening. Another one I think of is a shift towards more of that behavioral finance as a differentiator. So approaching clients and customers in a human way and being their coach, not just their portfolio manager, because those are things that AI just can't replicate. And so more of that EQ versus IQ, I think, will be showing up in, like you said, those job descriptions. Anything that you can do to improve the way you work with human beings. So talking about the emotional discipline, especially when it comes to financial advisors, helping them build that long-term confidence in you, that you're their guide through the entire journey that they are walking with you, that you're leading them in their financial life, especially when it comes to periods of strong market volatility. Everybody's been really happy with the bull market that we've had for the past 6 or 8 years, so it's been easy, I think, a lot of times to manage people through that. But as we start to get into some inevitable volatility in the stock markets, people are going to need some of that emotional discipline, which is one of the reasons they're paying advisors 1%, is to walk them through the ups and downs of the market and keep them financially stable through and not at a point where they're going to make a bad decision.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot deeper analysis, insight and analysis. Data augmentation and data modeling will come out. Marketers have been using models for a long time. Predictive modeling is a great example of how marketers have been using modeling, but we're going to see that more and more next year as well. I think the other thing that I'm seeing that's rising up is not just the use, everybody has a chat on their website now, some sort of AI chat function. What I'm seeing now is that chat function, AI, come into play with phone calls and AI bot answering phone calls for customer service and customer questions.
Yeah, and they're getting really good. They're getting to a point where you can't tell that it's a robot voice on the other end. And I just think, I'm writing a book right now, and I'm thinking about the audiobook version of it and just how many hours it's going to take for me to record the audio version. And I'm like, well, can I get a robot to record it for me? So, and I know I've been talking about kind of robot voices, I think, for the past 10 years, and there's just something in the voice that they just can't quite uncover, but it's getting really good, and I think they're really close. So I think one other area that I'm seeing more focusing on, and probably a double down into 2026, is more of a niche focus. So targeting unique audiences versus more broad positioning, because there are so many service providers out there offering the exact same thing. And especially if you're using AI tools, a lot of the messaging is going to become very similar. And so I think if you can create a niche, that makes your marketing much more clear, much more focused. So I think you're going to see the benefits of that come out in, of course, more business, stronger referrals, easier content creation from a marketing perspective. So I think just in the area of mass marketing, you really need to niche down. I think there's plenty of business in a very narrow niche. And again, that makes your business that much easier, and how you go to market, how you prospect, and then how you service clients, and then also how to make you more referable in the marketplace.
Yeah, niche down to exponentially grow, right? I think that if founders and advisors can't picture a specific client in their head and who they're talking to, and when I mean a specific client, it's not a male who's 30 years old who, is interested in sports. It is, I can picture Joel Crampton as my target audience, and you're marketing to Joel Crampton and his personality specifically.
Creating those customer avatars goes beyond, like you said, just some vagaries. It's like let's put a name to that person. Let's give them personality. Let's use AI to create an image of what that person actually looks like, or that group of people. But some sort of commonalities that you can identify. So, like you said, when you are creating content, that you can write it in almost kind of that first person, like, "Hey, Joel, really interested in giving this type of information. Here's what I think is what I think you're going to think is valuable. Here's why I think you should act on this type of thing now." And so I think, again, taking that more human-centered approach, I think, is going to be what really resonates with your end audiences.
Yeah. And even with the, when you niche down, it's about, and you mentioned this, there's so many competitors out in the space right now. Niching down allows you to find where your white space is as well. And what I mean by white space is finding where you're differentiated in the market. Niching down will allow you to get to that differentiation in the market compared to everybody else that's out there today. So find your white space, find your niche, and then speak specifically to those individuals within your niche.
I know in financial service, like in financial planning, I think there's a lot of AI tools that are being geared around advisors to help them kind of create those financial plans at a very basic level. And so like kind of almost like that robo-advisor mentality that's going to come in and kind of create very basic plans. And so it's going to maybe take away some people, some jobs or some job functions, people that are kind of work on that very low level. But from your standpoint, Mandy, what firms are you talking to? What kind of more advanced concepts are they creating to go to market with?
Yeah, from an AI perspective, I think that companies are really looking at and we talked about niching down. They're looking at creating AI tools for a specific problem that they're solving for, or a niche that they're trying to solve for. Couple of things that I'm seeing in the advisory space, and AI tools helping to improve workflow, helping to improve getting through compliance and regulations in providing advice. So doing the deep research when it comes to ensuring that advisors are providing the right investment solutions for their clients, they have to do a lot of compliance research and a lot of background on what they're investing in. Their clients don't see that in the background, but they spend a ton of time trying to meet those compliance regulations. So we're seeing a lot of tools that improve that workflow, takes that work out of their hands, does it for them so that they can spend more time on their clients and solving for their clients' needs rather than on the compliance and regulatory issues that are there. Yeah, so seeing a lot of companies do that from an advisory standpoint. Also seeing a lot of companies, and I talked a little bit about workflow, improving the workflow for their customers as well. So making sure in the online brokerage space, as an example, making sure that they can use AI to help their customers do the deep research that most customers in online brokerage need to do themselves to understand if a stock is appropriate for them. We're seeing a lot of AI tools come into play to do that research, to highlight the things that customers are typically looking for when they're doing their stock research.
I think firms that experiment early will gain those efficiency advantages. It's going to help them stand out with all the other competitors in the marketplace. And I think firms just need to pick 2 or 3 tools and say, hey, we're gonna double down on these 2026, try them out, see how they can incorporate it into our business processes, and just give a good college try. Like let's actually try it for a few months, see if it works. If it doesn't, in the next 3 months, there might be a new tool that solves that problem you were just working on even better than what you tried before. And that's the pace of with technology nowadays. With AI, there's all kinds of new tools being created every single day, and so just trying to keep up with all the new ones. I mean, I would definitely recommend people just try tools that have been around for 6 months, like that have the bugs worked out and have use cases around them and are easy to incorporate and to learn and to incorporate into your company's workflow.
Yeah, but the important thing is to test and learn as well. So really, and not just, test for a few days, try it out, and then drop it and test the next one. Test and learn is about iteration as well and evolution. So you're testing for a few months, you're not testing for a few days, and you're iterating with it, learning with it, evolving with it to see if it really works for you. I've seen so many founders this year try one thing for a week or two and then drop it because they felt it didn't meet their needs anymore. That diversion of testing something new every couple of weeks takes that focus away, and it doesn't really get you what you need if you're not going deep enough into that tool.
So we talked a lot about AI, a lot of new tools that are out there. I think that's easy for us because AI is just everywhere. What are some tried and true marketing tactics or strategies that people in financial services, whether it's fintech or financial advisors, anybody kind of in the financial services space, what are some tried and true things that just are always going to be great at driving new business?
Yeah. Joel, we talked a lot this year about building trust in the financial services realm, whether that is with an investment firm, with wealth management, with a bank. It is so critical in financial services to build trust. How do you build trust and incorporate that into your brand and your messaging so that it is naturally what comes across very quickly with your target audience, your consumers, your businesses that you're servicing?
Yeah, so trust is important. So what are some just tactics that you think builds trust with those prospective
Yeah.
clients or customers?
Having a consistent customer journey that is consistent across the board is important. Ensuring that your customer experience has a base of trust added to it, that you've got the right systems in place so that you're not getting those data breaches in, and that your brand clearly and your messaging clearly conveys trust at all times.
Agree to all that. Would certainly tack on things like providing great quality content, some value add that helps that customer, that client make the decision of who, the one or two companies that they want to determine that they potentially want to work with. Short form video, I think, is always going to be an up and coming way to showcase more of your authentic voice, especially if you've got founder-led stories, founder-led videos out there on whether it's YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or on your website. That authentic content really comes through. That on-camera persona, it's what people connect with. Um, what else from a marketing perspective? True omni-channel marketing. I think you have to look at all the different channels that you are on, whether that's your website, email, your social media, if you're doing podcast or media engagements. I mean, you have to have a consistent brand message across all those different platforms. Graphic design, that's an area that people it leads to trust in your brand because they see the same branding, the same colors, the same messaging, the voice. All of that needs to be consistent across all those different channels, all those different platforms. What else?
Full funnel, and you touched on this. Full funnel marketing is so critical, and full funnel marketing is not just about getting to that purchase. It is building the awareness, making sure you're the thought leader in the market to get to that consideration and build that trust. And then you can sell the product and get to that initial purchase. But you do need that funnel of consumers at each stage, continuing to learn about you, know who you are, and then consider buying from you.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
what I
AI
will
is,
say, sorry.
yeah, cool.
What
You're
I
good.
will say is that the funnel is changed this year, maybe it's changed over the past few years and we're just starting to notice it this year, is that your funnel is no longer that triangular funnel where it goes to the bottom. Customers are experiencing you in different ways and in different forms. It's no longer, I'm going to build awareness, go to consideration, get to conversion. They're going through the funnel in different ways, and experiencing you in different places. So it's a spaghetti map now instead of a funnel map.
I would agree. One thing that probably won't change, unfortunately, is spaghetti marketing, where people are just throwing things against the wall and hoping something sticks. I think that unfortunately won't change. People are still going to be chasing after the latest, greatest fad or technique shortcuts to get to that next client. But I think if you just invest in your business, invest in marketing and leadership. I mean, this is certainly a plug for us, so I'm maybe biased, but there's lots of voices out in the financial services world that say the same thing. So I think I'm right enough in saying that if you invest in some good marketing, some good strategic marketing, you're very intentional in what you're doing. You have campaigns, structure, around all those different strategies and the tactics that you're implementing. You have somebody that's tracking that, optimizing them, pivoting when necessary, when things are maybe not panning out the way you think it would. And so I think just being able to have somebody that's in charge of those and not rely on the founder or the partners or principals to take on that workload, because that's not their expertise.
I do believe that spaghetti on the wall marketing is because the founder, CEO, whomever is leading the marketing doesn't have the strategy in place to support it. That foundational strategy is critical so that you don't get to spaghetti on the wall. I think that what we're seeing now is that building that foundational system is so critical to ensure that you can get eventually that viral video out or something that's going to create the impact that you want it to create instead of just creating noise in the market. I had a couple years ago, I had somebody approach me and they said, when the extra gum commercial came out, they said, and everybody's seen it, it's the post-pandemic commercial where Celine Dion's song is on and everybody's being released out of the COVID lockdown. And the CEO at the time said to me, I want that viral video. I want to be viral like them. And what they didn't realize was that there was a deep strategy behind that extra gum commercial. They understood the cultural norms. They understood their strategy and what they wanted to do. And they spent a lot of time and money exploring the strategy of how to promote their product. It didn't happen because they wanted a viral video. It happened because they had a good strategy, a good messaging system, a good brand system underneath them to support it.
Yeah, I think marketing is no longer just a set of tactics or a singular campaign. It's a long-term trust engine. Marketing's a marathon. If you want to be very effective and successful at marketing, you have to take the time. You have to invest in people and resources that take your brand from where it is now and invest in systems that will compound results not only into 2026, but beyond 3 to 5 years. Who knows what AI is going to be doing in the next 3 to 5 years, but if you can start now, when's the best time to build a tree? It's now. You can try to do 20 years ago, but you can't go back in time.
Yeah.
So it's better to start now because there are firms out there that are starting now and implementing some of these new technologies and new systems that are going to help compound their growth into 2026 and beyond. I think we touched on this a lot. The future is not AI versus humans. It's going to be AI plus humans. I think you're going to continue seeing the best marketing blending all the newest technologies, but also leading with authenticity, clear positioning, clear messaging, and kind of that cohesive strategy that brings everything together, not only from a marketing standpoint, but business development and operations and everything tied into the business in this cohesive package that the entire executive team can understand, the entire company can understand that we're all rowing in the same direction and everything is working in tandem to get us where we want to grow in the future.
Yeah, I think that the companies that are going to succeed in 2026 are the ones that are building the foundation, building that marketing engine and marketing system underneath it first before they go out to strongly in market. The companies that are going to win are the ones that see marketing as a revenue driver and not as an expense line item. There's going to be a lot of shift in 2026 towards that trust building system and ensuring that they have the messaging in place that the entire team can rally behind, sales, product, marketing together to share that consistent story out in market. Those are the ones that are going to advance really, really fast. The ones that are adopting AI, you're absolutely right. I think in 2026, those that really truly adopt AI, make it part of their roles and their job descriptions and what they're accountable for, will advance faster than those that are still trying to do things without AI. I think you're going to see a lot of AI usage advance from a content perspective. You're going to stop seeing the AI generated content and start seeing people use AI in more authentic ways going forward.
And I think with that, Mandy, that is a wrap on 2025.
2025.
I think that's been
Yay.
fantastic. Started this thing earlier this year. I'm really excited about what 2026 has in store for you and me working together on this podcast, but also in each of our own fractional marketing businesses, helping firms get that clarity and confidence and trust they need to be successful into 2026. I think we need 2026, we need to have those little applause buttons that we can hit
That's
anytime
right.
we make points like you just did about AI. And so I think we're going to come up with some new fun ways to make 2026 an even better podcast for our listeners out there.
100%. Great learning experience this year with you, Joel. We're on episode 10, and it's only going to get better from here.
And I think we've got guests lined up through February, so we're going to be here for a while, unfortunately.
There's
For the people who
lots of
don't,
great topics up and coming
yeah, so much
that
more
we
we want
have.
to cover. Yeah, and then we'll also do just episodes like this, with just you and me, so we can really dig into marketing and get a lot of actionable tips to share with our audience.
That's right.
Cool. All right, Mandy, it's been fun. We'll see you in the new year.
Happy New Year, Joel.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.